Hey guys, welcome to my training on how to network your way into your dream job. The strategies that I'm going to be sharing today have helped my one-on-one clients get six-figure salaries as well as director-level positions. I know these strategies can work, and I know they will work for you, okay? So we're going to be covering the biggest problem that tanks most people's chances in networking and how you can avoid it. I'm also going to provide access to a worksheet to help you increase your chances and also be incredibly successful, okay? So let's get started. My name is Christian Hansen, and I'm the author of The Influence Mindset, The Art and Science of Getting People to Choose You. I'm a career coach who helps people make six-figure career moves. And the strategies that we're going to hear today absolutely work. Now, I have a couple of goals here, right? Number one, I want to change how you think about networking. I want to change your approach and have a complete paradigm shift. And also, I want to have change your tactical approach of how you execute your networking game plan, okay? So, I want to first talk about the biggest problem that happens in networking, and that is people completely waste their first chance, right? They waste their opportunities. You don't get a second chance at a first impression, and I'm going to show you how you can rethink about this. So let me give you some context, okay, about how being a vocal performance major in college helped me understand how to prepare for networking in a different way. Let me explain. So for a brief time, in my college experience, I was a vocal performance major. Eventually, I learned I did not have the pipes of steel to be a lyrical tenor for the rest of my life, so I needed to make some changes. But here's how the vocal program worked, and here's what you can learn about how to improve your networking. So, how we would receive our grades, right? So at the beginning of the semester, we meet with our voice teachers, and we get a series of songs that we're going to work on, practice, develop our techniques, and this was a place where we could practice completely, right? We're just in a safe space where we can develop our technique and get our breathing right and learn the words a lot more effectively. Then throughout the semester, we would have master classes where we would sing in front of our peers, and we would basically give the song, test runs. Okay, that's a RUNS there, where we would practice. We get feedback after we're kind of seeing how the songs would operate. Then at the end of the semester, we'd have what's called juries, where we would go and do a mini concert completely from memory of all the music that we'd worked on in front of the entire vocal performance staff, right? All the professors. And it was really, really scary and nervous, but it was a lot of fun. Here's the thing, though, is that walking into juries, I felt confident, okay, because I had chances to practice and also do a test run of all the music, and I had done this tons and tons of times, so that when it mattered most, I was completely prepared. Now, no one in their wildest imagination would ever consider skipping the practice, skipping the test runs, and going straight into the juries. But that's what happens all the time when it comes to networking. Let me explain. Okay? Oftentimes, people are going for the biggest fish possible when it comes to networking, but they enter into those interactions completely unprepared. How can we have better preparation leading up so that when you have your opportunity to talk with someone who can influence the direction of your application, how can you be most prepared? Well, let me give you another example, right? When I was the associate director of a really competitive, top 50 ranked MBA program, we would have info sessions, and I would also offer office hours for people to come in and meet with me. Now, there were two groups of students. The first group, they had not prepared at all, right? They had not practiced and they had not done a test run. They would just walk into the info sessions thinking that it was really an info session. But then there was a second group of people who thought ahead, right? They knew that they were going to be in the room with decision makers like myself who could make or break their applications. And they wanted my first impression of them, to be highly effective. So they did their homework. They practiced, they researched, and they figured out their purpose and the reasons why they were interested in our programs. And then when they came to the info sessions, while everyone else is just spinning their wheels, figuring out, oh, is this a nice program? The second group of students were on point, and they were really prepared. Similarly, when I had office hours, people would come in. If they asked me questions that were easily found on the website, it was frankly a waste of my time. And it showed me that they were not prepared, right? But the people who were prepared, I had a really positive first impression, and I carried that impression with me when I was advocating for them in front of the MBA selection committee, okay, in the admissions committee. The same process happened when I was running, corporate HR internship programs for LG Electronics. People who were not prepared simply did not stand out compared to people who were, okay? So I want to share a framework that's going to help you rethink this and how you can be better prepared for when you get the chance and you have an amazing opportunity to network with somebody who can influence the destiny of your application. So let's just think here, okay? I want to talk about tribes for just 30 seconds here, okay? Right now, you are in a tribe, okay? Whether it's your current company, right? And you're trying to get into a different tribe where they have their own culture, their own language, their own industry, right? The thing is that what helps you, the strategies that you use right now to get ahead in your current tribe don't necessarily help you get into another tribe, right? So you need to make networking about literacy, okay? I want you to focus your efforts on networking about becoming literate in what it takes to succeed in this other tribe that you're wanting to get into, okay? So let's break this down. So I call this the networking triangle, okay? Now, the networking triangle to me is the most effective way that you can strategize and organize your networking efforts, okay? So at the bottom of the networking triangle are what I call insight givers, okay? So we're starting at the very bottom of the food chain here, okay? Insight givers are people who they can just give you insights, perspectives. They're helping you learn the language of the tribe you're trying to get into, right? The industry, the company. They can tell you the lay of the land, right? They have experience in the industry in general, and this is where you want to make your mistakes. Okay, this is where you want to practice. It's a low-risk environment, okay? You're simply practicing your message, figuring out your value proposition for the companies, right? Now, the second benefit that insight givers give you is that they connect you to the higher levels of networking, okay? Which brings me to the second level, and I call these people connectors. Now, connectors are people who they are current members of your target company, right? They can directly connect you to people who will influence, later. We're going to talk about that in a second. They can provide strategically important insights about the company, maybe your team that you're looking at trying to get into. And, here's the thing is that while you're going to practice and just kind of get the lay of the land with insight givers, with connectors, this is your test run, right? This is where you're really, you're taking all the insights you got from the insight givers and you're really testing how your message resonates with people who can actually connect you to someone higher, right? Now, with my one-on-one coaching clients, this is where I help them create a mission statement, and this is the framework of everything that we do together, right? And the other thing is that you're going to get validation from connectors. They're here to validate the information and the message that you have. And then finally, we get to the top of the networking ladder, and I call them influencers, okay? And now, these are people who can have direct influence, direct impact on the success and outcomes of your application, right? So again, these are people who are like hiring managers. Maybe it's your boss that you're going to be working for. These are recruiters. They have immense potential to make or break your application, right? The thing is, though, like I said, the biggest mistake that people do is that you may be, connectors are more important than insight givers, but people target either connectors or influencers first without actually doing a test run or doing some research and insight. And so that means that they completely blow it when they meet with these people for the first time, right? So can you see how structuring your efforts about literacy, starting with insight givers, learning the lay of the land, then test running it with connectors who then connect you to influencers who can make a difference, right? This makes a huge difference in your networking efforts. So let's think about this, okay? Who is an insight giver? As you think about your network, right? Looked at LinkedIn. Take a look there, and if you can see who the influencers are, right? Who are the hiring managers or recruiters for your desired company, right? In the tribe. Then let's start to see if you know anybody who's connected to that company, right? And then if you know that company, then what industry is that in? Well, you can then start getting insight. Who has insight about the industry or about that company in general? So, insight givers. Who works or has worked in your target industry, right? Helps you understand a little bit more. Maybe even who has previously worked at the company. Your connectors are people who currently work, at the target company, or maybe people who used to work in your target department. These people have much more strategic insights, and maybe it's connectors are people who currently work at a direct competitor, a very comparable company for the one you're trying to go to. Then influencers would be either who's the hiring or who's the hiring team manager, or who's a person in higher level leadership that you may know, right? Of the target organization, who's your potential boss, right? And if you're looking at your network going, I don't have anybody in this, then I would ask you the question, well, if no one in your network has these connections, who can introduce you to, right, a connector or an insight giver? Okay, preferably just an insight giver. Who can at least introduce you to that? And you'd be surprised if you ask for help, how many people are going to want to help you with career changes, right? There's people always want to help others along their careers. So how can you kind of take your first steps in figuring out where to go? Well, down below, I have a link to have you get access to this worksheet that I've put together. So go ahead down there in the description, and that's where you can get access to this link. But I call this the Professional Profile Worksheet. This is helping you gain literacy in the role that you're trying to get into. Okay, so what I want you to do is find someone at your target company or in a comparable company who's in the desired role that you want to get into, right? Who are they? And let's just kind of go through the steps. What's their background? What majors did they get, right? Did they have a research focus? Number three, next question is, how many years of experience do they have prior to their role, right? Again, we're trying to learn who has made it ahead of you, who's ahead of the line, and how can we imitate them, and how can you show your strong points and strengthen your weak points, right? Also look at what are the companies and roles that they've had prior to these current positions. Okay, next, have they highlighted any major accomplishments, projects, or skills in their professional space? Also really take a look at their LinkedIn and other social media activity, right? What do they post on? What is the current conversation that they're having about their company or about their industry? So then, a couple big questions here. Are there any similarities between your respective profiles, right? What stuff do you have in common? And then the other question is, what differences are there between your respective profiles? That tells you what can you focus on so that you sound and look like the person who's going to be successful. It also shows you what you may need to strengthen and or highlight differently. Again, all of this can come as you learn and practice speaking with insight givers, connectors, and influencers. Guys, thank you so much for joining me for this brief training today on how to network your way into your dream job. Again, it's all about structuring out and having a more strategic approach to your networking. Don't go for the influencers first. Don't go for the big fish first without preparing, having a chance to practice, have your test runs of your message and your value, and then you'll be ready to go in front of the big fish and really make use of that great opportunity. My name is Christian Hansen. If you'd like to have some more one-on-one coaching and learn more about how I can help you succeed in your career and help you get into your dream job, I'd love to have a conversation. So simply click below. We can set up a time. I'd love to learn more about you and how I can help you supercharge your career efforts and make a 6-figure career move. Take care, guys. We'll see you next time.